Good morning, America. Air quality alerts. Smoke from hundreds of Canadian wildfires affecting major American cities and now moving east. Who's at risk and what sensitive groups need to know. Plus, breaking overnight, an earthquake rattling parts of the East Coast.
Sweeping new tariffs set to take effect this week. American businesses and consumers bracing for the impact. The predictions on what you may be spending thousands of dollars more on this year and where and when you can feel the pinch.
Investigator investigated. Former special counsel Jack Smith, who brought 2 criminal cases against President Trump, now targeted by a watchdog agency with allegations of breaking a law against partisan political activity. The reaction this morning.
New study results on the diabetes drug Mounjaro when it comes to reducing the risk of heart attack and stroke compared to another top-selling drug. Dr. Sutton is here to break it all down.
Back to school, parenting advice for resetting the routines for your kids, how to get them back on track and ready to learn and combat classroom anxiety.
Celebrating Black cinema. The Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival drawing a star-studded crowd to a cultural hub in the seaside town of Oak Bluffs, serving as a refuge for more than a century.
We are striving to participate in the American dream, and this was a place where you could be around folks who had that same mindset, and I think that holds even true today.
How history and culture are being honored.
And gridiron greats. 4 pro football legends inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. The brothers making history.
This is why I played football. This is why I got out of bed. It wasn't work. It was because of this right here.
All the emotional moments on stage.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Sunday. Good morning, America.
Can't touch this. I had to wait to deliver the verse, the hook. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Good morning, America. I love that jam. We got a good morning and a lot to cover this morning, including the fallout from President Trump's latest tariff moves expected to take effect this week, and how soon you could expect prices to go up just ahead.
Also, the latest on the manhunt in Montana. Authorities searching for an Army veteran wanted in the shooting deaths of 4 people at a bar next door to his home. And Pope Leo getting a rock star welcome, leading Mass at the Jubilee of Youth this morning in Rome.
Incredible to see so many people there, but we do begin here with the weather and the air quality alert spreading across a huge part of the country. The cause, smoke from more than 700 wildfires in Canada. Samara Theodore is here with details on that. But Samara, first, let's talk about the shaking that was happening here in the Northeast.
I know. A few of our folks were left shook yesterday, and that was because of a late-night earthquake just after the 10:30 time frame in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. We had a magnitude 3.0 earthquake. This happened along the Ramapo Fault System, and we're going to turn this on. You can actually see we felt shaking all the way from New Jersey, Staten Island, into parts of Connecticut, northern New Jersey there. So good news is that we didn't see any major damage or anyone hurt, but nonetheless, if you felt like that, that's exactly what you were feeling, an earthquake. It wasn't all in your head. All right, so we're going from the earth to the sky. Air quality alert has been issued for those living in this black color here. Any states, that includes Iowa, that includes Minnesota, out towards Wisconsin, parts of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and even parts of the Northeast into New England. You are under an air quality alert. It's unhealthy for all wherever you're seeing those red dots. Why is this happening? Because we have wildfires burning in Canada, and that smoke is migrating. And we could see some dense smoke as we head through not only today, but tomorrow. Let's look at the forecast across the country. Whit, back to you.
All right, Samara, thank you so much. Now to the new Trump tariffs set to go into effect later on this week and the global reaction. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is in Washington with the latest. Selena, good morning.
Hey, Whit, good morning. And American businesses and consumers are already feeling the squeeze from President Trump's trade war, and more tariffs are on the way just as families are getting ready for back-to-school shopping.
This morning, President Trump's escalating trade war rattling American businesses and consumers as a new set of tariffs looms over America's trading partners. The president's sweeping new tariffs, raising import taxes on nearly 70 countries starting on Thursday. Every country will face tariffs of at least 10%, some as high as 40%. American companies already paying the price. Ford estimates tariffs will cost them a whopping $2 billion this year.
Your average American household is going to spend thousands of dollars more between now and the end of the year to pay for Trump's tariffs.
In North Carolina, teacher Silberman says she's feeling the pinch as she starts back to school shopping.
I'm definitely seeing an increase in the prices. The tariffs are definitely a little scary, so I'm trying to get everything ahead of time.
This as new data shows the economy is weakening. The president furious over the latest jobs report coming in far below expectations. The president suddenly firing the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, who's in charge of releasing new jobs numbers. Trump claiming without evidence that the jobs data was, quote, rigged to make him look bad. The Bureau, a nonpartisan agency, also revised its previous numbers, lowering job creation in May and June by more than 250,000 jobs, something routinely done as more data becomes available. The former commissioner, appointed by Trump himself, says Trump's claims are baseless.
The messenger has no control over the data. The commissioner does not even see the numbers until the numbers are completely done and they're loaded and ready to be distributed.
Democrats sounding the alarm.
Whether it's coffee last week, whether it was eggs a few months ago, whether it's beef, these grocery prices have not gone down.
And those Democratic senators also told me that Trump's tariff strategy is wildly unpredictable. He's targeting our allies and adversaries alike, even countries that we have trade surpluses with. Janae?
All right, Selena Wang, thank you for that. And the politics of tariffs aside, the big questions for Americans are what prices could go up and when. So ABC's Morgan Norwood is here with some of those answers. Good morning to you, Morgan.
Good morning. Yeah, you definitely want to brace yourself at the checkout line because everything that you buy could soon cost a little bit more thanks to that sweeping wave of tariffs that Selena just laid out. Let's start with where it hits the most, and that's going to be the grocery store. Look, the U.S. just doesn't produce enough of the pantry staples like bananas, coffee, grains, fish. So expect prices to rise there. Companies like Hershey, Procter & Gamble, behind many of the snacks that we love, medicines and cleaning products, already warning of hikes. Alcohol, that is also on the list. Imports like French wine and European beer could spike as much as 30% by September. And get this, guys, 97% of clothing and shoes sold here in the U.S. is made in Asia. So expect a higher bill just in time for back to school shopping for the kids. And then finally, the big ticket items like furniture, appliances, electronics, everything from phones to dishwashers, that could jump immediately with tariffs on steel and aluminum jumping 50%. And then automakers like GM saying it's getting a little bit harder to not pass those costs along to consumers. Bottom line, these new tariffs are aimed at reshaping the global trade, according to Trump. But in the short term, our wallets will definitely take the hit.
And it is really eye-opening when you break it down like that, especially the pantry staples, the alcohol, of everything. So, Morgan, what can consumers do?
Yeah, it's all about shopping smart. If you're eyeing imports, you want to compare retailers, right? Some may not raise prices immediately, but also watch for price matching programs. Those can be really helpful in this tariff-heavy market that we're dealing with, guys.
It is going to take a lot more work just to find normal prices.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, Morgan, thank you so much. Now to the Mideast and a massive protest in Israel calling for the release of hostages in Gaza as the food crisis there intensifies. ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, is in Tel Aviv right now. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Gio. That's right. Overnight, tens of thousands of people gathering here in Tel Aviv to voice their anger and frustration at the war in Gaza. In Hostage Square, families and supporters of those still being held rallying. Hamas releasing this awful video showing one hostage, Eviatar David, looking terribly emaciated. His family agreeing for the media to show these painful images, saying they fear their son only has days left to live. Meanwhile, Steve Witkoff, the U.S. Special Envoy, also there in Hostage Square, meeting families of those still being held, telling them that President Trump cares about their children as he does any American child, and that they have a plan to bring all hostages home at once. But the killing and the starvation in Gaza has not eased despite all the talking. 6 more people dying of malnutrition, at least 175 passing away through lack of food, including 93 children. That's according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. Similarly, the numbers being killed by Israel continue to rise, with 39 more people dying while trying to get that desperately needed food aid. Witkoff and President Trump now working on a plan to increase the flow of food and medicine into Gaza. We don't know what it is, but frankly, the relief cannot come soon enough. Whit.
All right, Ian, panel for us. Thank you. Now to a former special counsel who prosecuted Donald Trump, now under investigation. Jack Smith brought 2 criminal cases against Trump, and now a federal probe is looking into whether he broke a law against partisan political activity. ABC's Catherine Faulders has more.
This morning, the former special counsel
charging Donald J. Trump,
who led the criminal probes into President Donald Trump before his return to office, now under investigation himself. The government agency known as the Office of Special Counsel says it's probing whether Jack Smith violated the Hatch Act, a federal law that restricts government employees from engaging in political activities. The agency typically investigates federal employees and oversees complaints from whistleblowers. It does not normally investigate former government employees, and it's unheard of for it to probe the actions of DOJ prosecutors. Republican Senator Tom Cotton encouraged the probe, saying earlier this week that Smith's actions after charging then-candidate Trump with unlawfully possessing classified documents and for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election were, quote, nothing more than a tool for the Biden and Harris campaigns. Democrats already crying foul.
The Trump administration is trying to turn the Office of Special Counsel into a political weapon. And this kind of weaponizing a supposedly independent and objective investigator simply produces bad, unfair, unreliable results.
President Trump has made clear his desire to use the powers of the presidency to target those he perceives as political enemies.
This is a good one. Is everybody listening? Deranged Jack Smith. We're going to call it the Deranged Jack Smith signing or bill.
Just days before Trump took office, then special counsel Jack Smith released a scathing report detailing Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Smith said Trump would have likely been convicted of multiple felonies had voters not decided to send him back to the White House. Representatives for Smith did not immediately comment on the investigation, but this investigation is not criminal in nature. And unlike when Smith was a prosecutor, this government agency would have no ability to compel Jack Smith or any other former government official to cooperate with their investigation. Catherine Faulders, ABC News.
Our thanks to Catherine Faulders for that report. And tune into This Week later on this morning. George Stephanopoulos speaks with the CEO of Doctors Without Borders, Avril Benoit. Plus, George speaks with former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers to discuss how President Trump's new tariffs are impacting the U.S. economy. Janae?
All right, Whit, now to the urgent search for a man suspected of killing 4 people in a Montana bar. Authorities say the suspect, on the run for 3 days now, is an Army veteran believed to be armed and dangerous. ABC's Melissa Adon has the details on that story. Good morning, Melissa.
Janae, good morning. So the search for the suspected gunman now zeroing in on a mountainous area in western Montana. Officials say the suspect knows the area very well, but they don't have any reason to believe he's being helped by anyone.
This morning, an urgent manhunt for Michael Paul Brown, who police say killed 4 people in a Montana bar, now entering its 3rd day.
There's a massive manhunt going on for this individual right now. We've got somewhere around 200 law enforcement on site.
Officials releasing this new photo they say is the suspect seen shirtless making his escape after he gunned down 4 people, a bartender and 3 patrons at the Owl Bar in the town of Anaconda around 10:30 Friday morning. These helicopters seen circling Anaconda's Garrity Mountain Friday evening. A Ford F-150 believed to belong to the suspect found abandoned.
We believe he's on foot somewhere in the mountains. We've got assets in the air. We're looking for him with infrared.
ABC News now learning Brown is an Army veteran who served in Iraq, later joining the Montana National Guard for almost 3 years until 2009. The Montana Attorney General telling us the suspect is known to law enforcement with a drug history. Authorities say he lived next door to the Owl Bar, SWAT teams clearing his home late Friday. Investigators believe the suspect had time to go home, change, and get in the car before he disappeared into the woods. Residents in Anaconda, a tight-knit town of about 10,000, asked to stay vigilant, warning people to lock their doors.
We're advising the public, treat him as armed and dangerous. If you see something, call 911, and that we are taking this extremely, extremely seriously.
Now, the Montana Attorney General emphasizing that they will not rest until Brown is caught. The U.S. Marshals, FBI, and ATF are assisting Montana officials with the manhunt as the people in the town of Anaconda just try to get their lives back to normal. Gio?
Yeah, very concerning there, Melissa. Thank you so much for your report here. And now to a Tennessee man facing attempted murder and weapons charges after deputies say they found 14 homemade bombs in his house. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says that deputies went to Kevin Wade O'Neill's home to arrest him on earlier charges of threatening public officials, and they noticed something smoldering in the bedroom. They say O'Neill tried to detonate one of the devices as officers arrived. Thankfully, of course, everyone was okay. O'Neill is now in the county jail. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, we turn now to a new study on the popular diabetes drug Mounjaro showing more potential health benefits. ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darien Sutton is here with more. Dr. Darien, it's always great to see you. So there's been this constant trickle of new data on the benefits of these GLP-1 drugs. This study, you say, though, is different from what we've seen before. Why is that?
Well, this class of GLP medications has grown in popularity year after year, well known for their injectable weight loss medications, Ozempic probably being the most popular. Well, now research is coming out more and more that their benefits are potential beyond diabetes, beyond weight loss, but in reducing the risk of death from cardiovascular disease. And for the first time, researchers were able to compare two popular products, one being Mounjaro, which is a more modern version, I would say. Technically, it targets two hormones. Its active ingredient is tirzepatide, the same in Zepbound, and it compares it to Trulicity, a more traditional version. It targets one hormone in a similar way that Ozempic does.
This is really fascinating because we continue to hear more about what these drugs are capable of.
Yes.
But what did this study find in real numbers?
Well, in real numbers, it found that both of these medications, Trulicity, the more traditional version, and Mounjaro, the more modern version, reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. But Mounjaro seems to do it better in terms of reducing the risk of cardiovascular death from heart attack and stroke, 8% lower risk compared to Trulicity. And in terms of overall risk of death, a 16% drop. So it's really significant, and it broadens the scope and helps us to understand more about the possible future of these medications and guiding patients to options depending on their risk.
Well, and with that, there are so many options out there right now. So what should someone consider here?
Yeah, there's no doubt. This market is crowded. And with the investigation and research that's coming in, the pipeline is going to even grow more. So there's going to be more medications in this class. I think it's important to understand that there's no clear winner. When you're trying to understand these medications, you need to know that they have variation in effectiveness. There's different dosages. Some have different insurance coverage options. And also some have different side effects. So that's why it's important to talk to your provider. But Gio, most important with these medications, understand that they're lifelong medications in the most part because these are chronic diseases and conditions. So you want to make sure that you pick the choice that has the ability to be more sustained and more comfortable in general of your own life over time, because this is a medication that you'll likely be on for a long time.
I don't think there's any medication we've talked about more over the past couple of years.
Truly.
Just incredible what it's done. All right, Dr. Darien, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
To the NFL now, and a history-making Hall of Fame induction as a full slate of preseason games kick off this week. ABC's Ike Adjachi is here with those details and some really sweet moments during this. Ike, good morning.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Janae. What an unforgettable night in Canton as four football legends joined the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2025. It was a ceremony full of heritage, heroes, and heart. This morning, history made in Canton, Ohio, as the Pro Football Hall of Fame celebrates the class of 2025. The inductees include four of the best players from the 90s and 2000s.
You got to come up here and stand next to me, my man.
Among the unforgettable moments, the Sharp brothers. Wide receiver Sterling Sharp joining his brother, fellow Hall of Fame tight end Shandon Sharp, marking the first time in pro football history that siblings have both been enshrined. Sterling, one of the premier players of his era, had his career cut short due to a neck injury at the age of 29, limiting him to only 7 seasons.
This is why I played football. This is why I got out of bed. It wasn't work. It was because of this right here.
Fellow pass catcher Antonio Gates from the San Diego and Los Angeles Chargers is now the first player ever inducted into the Hall without playing a single snap of college football.
You see, this gold jacket, it doesn't really just represent the game of football. It represents my family, it represents my faith, it represents my sacrifice, and a whole bunch of love from all of y'all out here.
And let's not forget the lockdown corner Eric Allen, a dominant force in the 90s. And pass rushing phenom Jared Allen, famed for his relentless energy and that signature sack celebration in the 2000s. Jared saying his best accomplishment is his daughters.
The Hall often says they're here to tell my story. Well, I'm here to tell you two, you are my greatest accomplishments. When I get called home to heaven one day, if all they talk about is this gold jacket, my career, then I failed miserably as a father, a husband, and a friend.
That's a man who knows what matters. Now, the NFL preseason continues this week with 3 games this Thursday and several more. Guys, football's back.
So powerful,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, just those special moments, and all coming together in that ceremony is such a fantastic.
Antonio Gates has helped my fantasy team so many times over the years. The fact that he didn't play college football but played basketball instead, it's just incredible.
Unbelievable talent.
Great stories.
Thank you so much, Ike. So coming up here on Good Morning America, our back-to-school checklist with tips to make the switch from summer to school easier for the kids and us parents.
And a celebration of the best in black cinema as we take you to the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival.
And how the daughter of the late basketball coach Jimmy V was surprised during an evening honoring her father.
Welcome back. We begin this half hour with a look at the top headlines that we're following right now on the Sunday morning. 2 men face charges on accusations they helped a fugitive wanted for killing a family of 4. Austin Robert Drummond remains at large and is considered armed and dangerous following last Tuesday's quadruple murder. Authorities say Tanaka Brown and Giovanni Thomas assisted Drummond after the killings. Both are charged with accessory to first-degree murder.
And a massive turnout in Rome this morning as Pope Leo delivers a message of courage and faith to young Catholics. A sea of more than 1 million listened in as the Pope presided over the Youth Jubilee Mass, one of the largest events to date. The Pope urged the crowd to spread joy, charity, and friendship in their walk with faith.
And the Indiana Fever on a hot streak. The team clinched their 4th win in a row on Friday against the Dallas Wings. They're looking to extend their winning record when they face the Seattle Storm this afternoon. The team has been without superstar Caitlin Clark due to an injury, but maintaining their rhythm. Of course, you can watch the game at 3 Eastern right here on ABC.
Even without Clark, they've just been,
they've
been hot.
Absolutely. Yep. You guys ready for back to school?
No.
Not yet.
No, we're not.
But here is our back to school checklist. It's that time of the year again where some parents already have kids in school while others are running around preparing for the first day back to school. So joining us now with tips to make this transition a little bit easier here is our medical correspondent, Dr. Darien Sutton, and parenting expert, Bethany Braun-Silva. Good morning to you both.
Welcome.
Yes. Okay, so Darien, let's start with you because sleep schedules, that's tough, right?
Yeah.
You go from not going to school and not having to go to sleep early to now having to go to sleep early. How do you help these kids reset?
It's incredibly difficult. I have to say this is my favorite time of year. You know, I've spent my whole life in school. So here we are talking about sleep and how important it is because it's more important not just for academic performance, but for brain development and growth. And when you look at the expertise, they really say you need to start now in terms of helping kids transition back into school, inching up their wake times and their sleep times by 15 minutes, and remembering that the body doesn't know the difference between weekdays and weekends. So you want to keep it consistent. And then more importantly, understanding, and this is something that I learned throughout education and medicine, children need a lot more sleep than you think. Children ages 6 to 12 need up to 12 hours of sleep at night, teens up to 10 hours of sleep at night. So making sure that you're getting to bed early and making sure you're staying consistent is really important.
Really important. Let's talk about anxiety for kids in a new school year. That can happen for any kid, parents too. So many parents out there like me, my pandemic princess, starts kindergarten this year, so it's a whole nother level. What should we keep in mind?
I love pandemic princess. I've never heard that. But to keep in mind, number one, the American Psychological Association has some great tips on this. And in general, as a physician, when talking to someone with anxiety, I think it's important to remind them that being nervous is okay. And to not say things like you'll be fine. You want to avoid those types of statements and then encourage conversation to help them name their emotions. Many children just don't have the words and then helping them with coping skills, reminding them of what they've done before that they've gotten over so that they understand their strength.
And Bethany, we were just talking here. I haven't even gotten into the summer routine yet with my kids. We're already thinking about back to school. So what can parents do right now to sort of avoid some of that last minute chaos?
Now is the time to make that back to school master checklist. My son asked me yesterday, when are we going back to school shopping? And the answer is now, like right now. So you're going to want to think school supplies, clothes, all that lunch gear, and of course paperwork. That's a big thing that we have to think about, you know, getting the immunization records, emergency contacts, medications, even transportation sometimes requires paperwork that we have to fill out. And there's really nothing like that panic in the first week of school when you haven't done that. So start thinking about that stuff right now.
Should kids be thinking about their academic work now?
You know, Gio, we talk a lot about the summer slide. That's a huge thing, but the key here is to really keep it light and fun. 20 to 30 minutes of reading a day, a fun workbook, and of course, learning can be done not in a drill way. Take them to a museum, make a day trip out of it. Learning in a park, people are learning in Disney World, right? So, I mean, you could really take the education anywhere on the road. The point is to keep it fun so we aren't inducing anxiety as we're heading back to school.
That's a great point, that key, kind of balancing
Right.
that out. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. I guess we got no choice.
Yeah, right, we have to.
We are on the track back to school. Thanks to you both. We appreciate it.
The kickoff to the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. The event features the best of Black cinema, and it also shines a light on a community that even to this day serves as a sanctuary. This morning, history and culture honored and cultivated in Martha's Vineyard, marking the 23rd African American Film Festival in Oak Bluffs. The vibrant and charming town, tucked away in the island's lush North Shore, served as a safe haven for Black people seeking refuge from racial segregation.
During the Civil Rights Movement, it was like a place for rest and relaxation. Martin Luther King, Bayard Rustin, Harry Belafonte, and other people.
Now it's a cultural hub and summer hotspot rooted in legacy, celebration, and a place of belonging. The 9-day annual film festival drawing visitors from around the country, featuring Black filmmakers, actors, and influential voices. A host of A-listers taking center stage like Debbie Allen, Spike Lee, Issa Rae, Tracee Ellis Ross, and former First Lady Michelle Obama.
I think the thing that brings folks to the film festival are these variety of stories of the Black experience.
The lineup featuring thought-provoking films and features, plus powerful documentaries like A Portrait of the American Dream, Oak Bluffs.
It's a story of Black aspiration, Black success, in a time and place where that was far from guaranteed in most parts of the country.
Director Cole Brown, who spent his summers on the Vineyard, draws on his memories of historic Inkwell Beach and Shearer Cottage, the oldest Black-owned inn on the island.
We wanted to reach out to the community and say, you know, hey, what stories have really created this place that has become so special for Black history.
The documentary, teaming up with designer Ralph Lauren in historically Black colleges Morehouse and Spelman. The project paying homage to the storied history of Oak Bluffs and celebrating the island's undeniable style with its line, Polo Ralph Lauren for Oak Bluffs. Honoring residents and visitors who found refuge in this seaside town for more than a century.
We are striving to participate in the American dream, and this was a place where you could be around folks who had that same mindset. And I think that holds even true today.
It certainly does. Martha's Vineyard is such a special place for so many people. The festival lasts through Saturday, August 9th.
And it looks so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I've never been, but it looks beautiful.
The history, too, is so fascinating.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
really learned a lot in that piece.
Yeah,
great story. Thank you. All right, coming up here on Good Morning America, we're going to take you into our group chat and show you what's on our minds this week. Stick around.
Time now for our group chat, letting you in on the stories that caught our eye this week. And I'll start with the good news from Deion Sanders. He announced that he's cancer-free after surgery to remove his bladder and reconstruct a new one. Yes, absolutely great news. He says he intends to continue to coach this season. The cancer was discovered during an annual CT scan, since he has a history of blood clots in his legs. And that's what really stuck out to me, that this was discovered while checking on something completely different going on. And it's just a reminder of how proactive each of us needs to be about our health. And it's so easy to get caught up and not make your appointments or to push them off or to think I'm a little too young for that. But just to keep in your mind that we've got to be on top of our health.
I kid you not, I saw this story and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm so behind on my physical.
Right?
Like I needed to I went
see?
and called and scheduled an appointment, but it's like such a great reminder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, well, you guys know how much of a dog lover I am. So we came across this story and I just love it. So we heard about this family in San Francisco
whose dog Rufus died. And so the family was heartbroken over this. But they started looking at other rescue dogs online and found one at this senior dog rescue called Muttville that looked very similar to Rufus.
Wow.
So they adopted him. They named him Ziggy. And then notice all these like similar mannerisms to Rufus, an uncanny resemblance.
Yeah. Wow.
They did a DNA test and the results shocking. Their newly adopted dog, Ziggy, turned out to be the father of their previous dog. Take a look, listen.
Just the most amazing gift. I just have to believe that he ended up in our path for a reason. And I'm just glad that he gets to spend the rest of his time with us.
Amazing.
The fact that these two animals found their way to the same loving family, just incredible.
That's unbelievable.
And it's just another reminder to rescue dogs. Always consider shelters in your area. This week we also celebrated Dogist First.
Oh, yes, yes,
So, yeah.
The perfect time. Meaningful coincidences.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
yeah.
those. Okay, so you guys know I was on vacation. Sorry. I'm sending you all the pictures.
I know,
and
and we were
videos
like,
and things
please
like
don't,
that.
Gio. But, yep.
No, we don't hate you, but
I was
we
down.
kinda do.
Yep. So I was down there in the Caribbean, and I was on the beach, but I didn't have my goggles on, so I put my camera underwater. So there, look at this. I was looking for turtles, and these are beautiful. I mean, they were so gorgeous. But remember, I'm looking from above, and I'm only seeing shadows.
Yeah.
So I think I spot another turtle. Except it wasn't a turtle. Once I looked at this video here,
wild.
It was a shark. And I just kept getting closer and closer and closer to it. And at one point, I was looking at it and I was seeing the shadow. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't moving like a turtle. And sure enough, it wasn't until I saw that video
and then sent
that
it
I was
to
like,
us.
oh, and I was getting close to it.
You were just tiptoeing through the sharks.
Truly.
Yeah. But you know what? At least we know it was like a nurse shark. It was fine. I mean, it was friendly. It became our friend later.
Yeah, and we're not only jealous that you're on vacation, but that you get to take vacations without kids. And like, so you just rubbed it in our faces, Gio.
Choices. No, I'm kidding. Love kids.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul. And those three things are going to carry on forever. I thank you, and God bless you all.
Oh, welcome back to GMA. Powerful words right there from Coach Jimmy V at the 1993 ESPYs. His speech igniting inspiration in the fight against cancer and launching the V Foundation for Cancer Research in partnership with ESPN.
Yep, and now a celebration of his lasting legacy as his daughter, Jamie, was surprised with the Jimmy V Spirit Award at the V Foundation Wine Celebration in Napa Valley.
And Jamie marking 20 years cancer-free after battling breast cancer. She says her father's vision and the V Foundation saved her life.
I was the someone he loved. Without knowing his own daughter was going to be facing this disease 13 years after he said those prophetic words, he had not left me alone. He had given a game plan and a team and people that could step in when he was gone.
Oh, how powerful to hear her say he had not left me alone. And last night's event, listen to this, raised $12 million for cancer research. Incredible. The audience had a quick message here for all of us here at ABC. Take a look.
Good morning, America.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Great audience.
Absolutely.
An amazing effort there. Amazing campaign. $12 million.
Yeah, fantastic what they were able to do.
Huge impact.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for starting your day here with us this Sunday over at Good Morning America.
Yep, you can catch us more on the weekend news coverage over on ABC News Live, the stream, as we like to call it. Yeah, who's on the stream today?
I am.
She's on the stream. She's on the stream.
Excellent.
And Miami, you can now find us on ABC Miami on Channel 18 and 7.2 starting tomorrow.
There you
go.
There in Miami.
The rest of us, you know where to find us.
That's right. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.